Well, it's that time of year. Busy shopping, visiting people, having people over, and it's usually when I do some takeout. So, what wines would go with some of these favorite takeout dinners? Stay tuned, I'll let you know. Welcome to this week's episode. So we're going to take a look at two wines that I think will pair nicely with our takeouts from KFC and one of my favorite pizza places. So let's take a look at two wines which will help you get through the holiday rush. So our first wine is Korbel, and it's a California champagne. And you may be thinking, California champagne, isn't that sort of the maybe inexpensive sparkling wines I see at all of the brunches I've ever been to? Well, the answer is yes. But guess what? It works really, really well with our fried chicken. And I did some research on it because I haven't had it in a number of years. And there were so many recommendations for try Korbel with KFC, trust us. And you know what? It turns out to be very true. So what a nice thing to have on hand. You could find Korbel California Champagne at just about anywhere, from grocery stores to, fine wine retailers, even Total Wine, Target, whatever the case may be. It seems to be everywhere. It's ubiquitous. So I would definitely have some on hand during the holiday rush. And then when you grab KFC and you bring it back, I did an experiment. I did it with the extra crispy and the original recipe, and it was great. I mean, it tasted so much better with the chicken than it does by itself, but there's nothing wrong with the wine. It's quite nice. It's well made. It's a blend, as most champagnes and sparkling wines are a blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir and a few other grapes. And maybe even different vintages and from different areas around California. So they do a very nice job. And it was kind of interesting because you've seen my other episodes on sparkling wines, and I was curious why it said California champagne. I thought, well, how could they do that? Because only sparkling wines from France can be called champagne. You've heard that on my show many times. So I did a little research and find out how in the world does Korbel get away with calling it California champagne? Well, it turns out that it goes back to the late 1800s, and they were using California champagne back then. And when they did all of the ratifications and different treaties and work with the EU and France, who said, look, we only want sparkling wines from Champagne to be allowed to be called champagne. Well, it turns out when the US finally ratified the agreement with the EU back in 2006, it was allowed to have grandfathered some of those wineries who'd been using it for all of these years could still be allowed to call it California champagne or sherry or things of that nature. But most wineries in California and the US have gone ahead and adopted the concept of, you know what, we'll call our wine sparkling wine. And we won't call it champagne, things like that. So, but for this one, it was sort of nice to see, Korbel. It goes back, quite a long time and rich California history. So you look for some bright citrus notes. I got a little caramel apple when I had it, and just a nice little acidity that really helps cut through the fried chicken. And I'd love to know what you think about having Korbel on hand in your refrigerator, so when you're out doing all of your holiday shopping and you swing by KFC on your way home, you could give it a try. And I bet it would work for some of the other famous ones like Popeyes, etc., and even Chick-fil-A. Those should be just fine with it. And I'd love to know what you think about Korbel and your fried chicken to get you through the holidays when none of us really feels like cooking after a long day of shopping and work. Let's take a look at our second wine to help get you through the holidays. So for the second wine to help get you through the holidays, I've chosen what everyone always thinks about, which is pizza, right? So we did fried chicken, and now we're going to do pizza because there's nothing like pizza to kind of have a nice dinner when you're tired from shopping and working, and the kids want it and you want it too. But what wines would be good with it? Well, I have almost always stuck to my go-to, which is a Chianti Classico, because it's the Sangiovese grape, and the Sangiovese grape to me just so well when I have tomato-based dishes and spicy Italian food. I just think it goes very well. Well, I got out of my comfort zone this time, and that's what I want to share with you. Yeah, I think you've been watching my shows, and you know how much I am just in love, infatuated with Riojas from Spain. Well, I had one, and it was a good recommendation wine, and I picked it up, and I thought, well, let me try it with my pizza. And this was the typical one that we like to get that has sausage, it has bell pepper, and it has onions, olives, and tomatoes. So, and a little bit of feta cheese. So it needs a wine that can kind of stand up to it. Well, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to open the Chianti this time. I'm going to try a Rioja. So the Rioja from the Tempranillo grape from Spain. And I thought, let me give that a try. And it was delicious. I was so glad I kind of got out of my box, tried something I wouldn't normally even recommend. I've been having my Riojas with lots of grilled meat, but I have never tried it with pizza, and I haven't tried it with a tomato-based sauce. Wow, knocked my socks off. This El Coto Crianza Rioja just blew me away. Not too expensive, around the $10 range, which is nice because we're grabbing takeout and we want something we could go to. This is one of those Rioja wines. If you want a red wine on hand, this is a gem. You should be able to find it. I found it at a giant grocery store. I've seen it at Total Wine & More. So maybe do just a little bit of looking, and if you cannot find this exact one, don't worry. I am going to put another recommended Rioja that I've definitely seen at every grocery store I've been to. So you'll get a chance to try a Rioja with your pizza if you want, and I'll put that in the description box below. So what's interesting about Riojas, and you'll check out my episode where I just focus on Rioja, but a quick little recap is that it's usually from the Tempranillo grape. It could be 100% Tempranillo, or it could be a little bit of a blend of wines from Spain. And it has a very basic level, kind of like the Chiantis. Remember how the Chianti had its different levels? So it has a very basic level, just called Rioja. And then the one I had is a Crianza. And that means it was 1 year in oak and then maybe a year in the bottle. So it's really sort of 2 years afterwards. So unbelievable deals. These wine, I think you've been hearing me stress how much I want you to try Riojas, because they just offer incredible values in wine. Delicious with food. You could drink it on its own. They go with a wide range. Now I know it's pizza instead of just grilled lamb chops and kebabs, etc., and steak. So it did just perfectly with that pizza. So if you're looking for something that's easy, go to a nice red, not too tannic, right? And offers some dark cherry and blueberries, a little bit of cedar and some baking spice notes to it. Oh, it's just a gem. And I can't believe the price. A wonderful wine, under $15. What a steal. So look at the description box. I'll give you an alternative if you can't find this exact Rioja, but I can't wait for you to try it and let me know what you think. So what two great wines that we looked at this week to help us get through the holidays on all of those running arounds that we do, and we can grab something from takeout, bring it home, and have some very nice wines to really help us wind down and then actually relax and enjoy the holidays. So as you go and you want to try the sparkling wine, the Korbel, you may notice that there are a couple different ones out there, right? You may see one that says Brut, and you may see one that says extra dry. Well, I stuck with the Brut, and then you may be wondering, Trent, well, why does it say extra dry? Well, there's just sort of the levels of sparkling wines, and Brut, believe it or not, is actually the driest style. And even though it says extra dry, what you'll notice with that one is it's just going to be a little sweeter. Maybe a little bit of fruit comes forward a little bit. It won't have any of the yeasty notes or things that you associate than if you had like a dry Chardonnay versus, say, something sweeter like a Riesling or a Moscato. So if you like your wines just a little bit more on the sweet side, give the extra dry a try with your fried chicken, and then let me know what you think. And I think that may be a nice alternative, and they're both about the same price. So I wanted to point that out if you see those. Again, Rioja, my new love, my new infatuation. I just can't get enough of the Riojas. So look for the El Coto. If you can't find it, not to worry. I'll give you some more recommendations in the description. So if you're at the grocery store, you can try some other ones that I absolutely like, and just incredible values. Great tasting wine for your pizza dish. If you tend to like pizzas that are, let's say, more gourmet and the olive oil sauce or the white sauce with arugula and figs and honey on top, which I do love, but usually not to grab and bring home. I like to go out and have those. So if there's a certain style pizza you like, send me a message and I will do my very best to find some good pairings for you and give you some recommendations. So, wow, what a great time of year. It's so nice to share it with you, and I hope these 2 recommendations will help you through the holidays so that you can enjoy yourself with your friends and family and kids. And thanks again for being such loyal subscribers, and let me know what you think about our recommendations for this week. Well, until next time, cheers everyone.